All right, this will be the last one. This says a 241.3 gram sample of cobalt chloride with 2 parts water is heated to dryness. Find the mass of the anhydrous salt remaining. So my given information is 241.3 grams cobalt chloride with 2 H2O. So notice in this one, you're given right away how many parts water. So the first thing you're going to do with that, and you're asking about the anhydrous salt, so we know we have to figure out our mass of our water. So right away, I'm going to start with step 1 as finding the mass of my water. And notice in this problem, it doesn't talk about the reaction and what you started with and what was produced and all of those things. This is a little more straightforward. So we're going to find the mass of the H2O, which is pretty easy. This tells me I have 2 moles of H2O. So 2 mole H2O, and every 1 mole of H2O, you should know this by now, how many grams of water? 18. So that tells me in this formula I have 36 grams of water within this. All right, so now what we have to do in one of these problems, step 2, and this is something a little different, we have to find the percent composition of water of the whole, I'm going to say, and I'll show you what that means, or maybe from the whole. So I have to look at the parts in the formula. And the first part is COCl2, so I need to find its molar mass. Because I have to know, like, this is all together. It's all one compound. So now I know what part of it is the water. I have to figure out what my percent composition of my cobalt chloride is because I have to use it with the quantity that I'm given. Because this isn't saying the whole molar mass of these two things is this. It's saying this is what the sample is. You have to figure out the parts. Yeah.
Why can't you just subtract 36 from 241.3?
Because this is what you're using in the problem. It's not the molar mass. You have to deal with molar masses in the percent of each part of the molar mass. Because we have to know what percent of this is actually the water. Okay? So let's see. What's the molar mass of cobalt chloride? Anybody figure it out yet? Cobalt is, what's cobalt? 58.9? And chloride is 2 times 35.5. So that's 70. So that's 1, is it 120? 129.9? Yeah, grams. All right, so that's my cobalt chloride part. Then if I want to know the whole molar mass, I have to add my part water, right? My 36 grams. That would give me the whole molar mass of the compound. So what is that? 129.9 plus 36. 165.9? COCl2 with 2 parts H2O. So there's my whole molar mass. This is my part cobalt chloride. This is my part water. Now, of that whole sample, wait, I'm going to wait. Does everybody have that? Can I move it, or are we good? Okay, so of my whole sample, I want to find out, you know, what part of that whole sample is mass-wise is water. So I'm going to take my, I'm going to find my percent comp of water.
We can see it.
There you go. So I had 36 grams of H2O out of my whole sample, which was, what was it, 165.9. So that equals what? I'm going to say 0.217% composition water. And I'm not going to bother with multiplying by 100 because I just have to turn it back to use it again. So now I know what percent of the whole is water, right? Does that make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
So now that I know what percent of the whole is water, I can apply that to the sample mass because I was given the mass of the sample. Yes? Yes. So I take my 0.217 times 241.3.
Yes.
And let's see what that is. I'm going to call that 52.4 grams. So how many grams of water do I have? I have 52.4 grams of water. Now I'm asked to find the mass of the anhydrous salt remaining. So what am I going to do? See if you can answer that question. What am I going to do with this 52.4? Kinley, do you have any idea? Like how would I find the mass of what's remaining? Yeah, I'm just going to subtract. Good. So I started with, let's see, we're going to now find the mass. CL2, so I would take my 241.3 grams minus my 52.4 grams, and that would give me grams, I keep wanting to make that O big, CL2. And this is grams of the sample, so that's with water, and this is the grams of H2O. So, when I punch that in, what'd you get, Annika? 188.9. Oh my gosh, I did it again. A little bit simpler than the last problem. So, the hardest part is reading the beginning and figuring out what path to follow, because we have multiple paths. So obviously I'll give you some to practice. All right, so what we're going to do now is finish up 74, 76, 78, finish up formal lab reports. Remember, all that stuff's due tomorrow. So you've got, I don't know.
Done, do we turn our papers in to you or?
Yes, because that's the end of your unit problems. So formal labs tomorrow and all problems tomorrow.
Do you want us to turn our